Hi! Welcome to another video, and this time, like the title says, it's all about spoilers for TF1. Now, if you watched my last video or saw it on Twitter or whatever, last time I was mostly japping and being very vague about pretty much everything as to not spoil you, because I know people are very picky about that, like TF Hype Guy on Twitter. I know he got spoiled very recently, just days before the release, so I was trying to avoid that as much as possible, but not in this video. This video, we're absolutely going to spoil every single thing I can possibly think of, so let's get to it. I want to talk about the general plot of the movie. I thought the movie would take, like, the time span of the movie would be over many years, but like I said, it's only like one day at the most. And that was really good. That was very surprising. Well, not one day at most, maybe a couple of days. We see Orion Pax. He goes like to restricted areas trying to find out like the history of Cybertron. And in one of them, like one of the archives, he actually learns about the 13 primes. We see Orion Pax also learn about Primus. We also learn about the Matrix. And the Matrix here works almost like the Allspark in a way. Without the Matrix has been lost to time. Cybertron can't get Energon. And that's what the main issue of the movie is. There is no like natural Energon. So that's why the miners have to mine it. So Orion Pax tries to learn even more about it because all the recordings like end right before they explain what happened to the Matrix or where it could possibly be. We see more of Orion and D16 working in the mines. Alita too, but the thing with Alita, I mentioned that Alita really had no reason to be part of the group. And I don't mean that as a criticism, it's just that she didn't want to be part of the group. She was forced into it in a way, because Orion Pax gets her fired from her mining job, like demoted. There is a caste system, so you go one level up, one level down, depending on how well you do, etc, etc. So because Optimus, well, Orion, disobeys orders or protocol trying to save Jazz, and he gets Alita fired, and that's why she has some sort of resentment towards Orion and D16. While this is all happening, Sentinel Prime is supposedly, that's what they tell us at the start of the movie, that he's searching for the Matrix and trying to restore Energon to Cybertron. So everyone praises Sentinel Prime. He's very important to the rest of the movie. So Orion Pax and D16 have this whole friendship dynamic and trying to, you know, be better miners or like go up. A large part of the movie is them being sad that they don't have T-Cogs or unable to transform. So they're trying their best to, you know, be able to transform or be equal to those that can transform even if they don't get their T-Cogs. Which is why they sneak into the Icon race, like the Icon 5000, something like that it's called. So they sneak into the race, they almost win it, but D16 sort of crashes and Optimus tries to get him to get up and they lose the race because of that. And if you're wondering who wins the race, I'm pretty sure it was Chromia. I heard Chromia in the theaters, but it's inconsequential, so. But the important thing is that because they sneak into the Icon race, Sentinel Prime's like, oh, you're so great. That's really awesome that you try to participate even if you don't have T-Cogs, and you motivated the miners to work even more, so I want you to be like inspiration to the other miners. But Darkwing, which has had some sort of quote-unquote small rivalry with D16 and Optimus, well, Orion, he gets mad and throws them into the garbage, or well, garbage disposal. Waste management is what it's called. And that's where they meet B. But they don't meet Alita here. Like, the trailer makes it look like Alita's with Bumblebee and the waste management after getting fired. But that's actually really good splicing. That's not what happens in the actual movie. They meet her again later on. when they try to sneak into the train, because in the waste management area of the planet, they learn through a recording that the Matrix is out there. Like, they see that one recording of Alpha Trion explaining where the Matrix is or where everyone's being attacked. So they go there. Alita doesn't want to go there. She now manages the quote-unquote waste. Well, not the waste. She stores the boxes of scrap into the trains so they can dump them in the surface. She gets stuck in the train with the others, so she has to be part of the group even if she doesn't want to. Alita, again, is really good. I really love her character because she would not be part of the group if she had a choice. She's not like very meek or very nice at all, which is a breath of fresh air. On the surface, they learn about the place where the Matrix is, they go there, but they also see the Quintessons. In the trailer, we also see that one Quintesson is like grabbing Sentinel Prime, because once they find the Alpha Trion cave where he is and where supposedly the Matrix last was, they learned that all of the 13 Primes were killed by Sentinel and the Quintessons. And the reason for this is because Sentinel Prime was like their assistant, and he was tired of it because, in his logic, the Quintessons and the 13 Primes and Cybertron as a whole was like in war against the Quintessons, but it would never end. So he got tired of it and decided that a deal with the Quintessons would be better. So he sells out the 13 Primes in exchange for him getting the power of Cybertron. So with that deal in mind, for the past, I think 50 cycles is what they call it, Sentinel has been giving the Quintessons the Energon in secret. So all of those boxes that Alita would fill with waste to the surface, they were actually full of Energon. And basically Sentinel, and I forgot to mention Arachnid. Arachnid is very important to the movie, not because of her character or anything. She's just like a plot device in a way, but she's really cool. She's like Sentinel's bodyguard. They all go there, give the Quintessons the Energon, and everyone sees that, and everyone's shocked. But the thing is that when he tried to steal the Matrix from one of the Primes, I think it was Zeta Prime, so the Matrix vanishes like in Revenge of the Fallen. It turns to dust, and no one knows where it is, and it disappears. And Alpha Trion, which has been pretty much asleep for the past, I don't know how many years. So Alpha Trion wakes up and tells them that whoever's worthy of Primus's power would get Matrix, but no one really knows where it is. So the best he can do to like help them out with this situation and help them expose Sentinel to the rest of the planet is giving them the T-Cogs of the other 13 Primes, well, 12 Primes that are dead in the same room. And now their main objective is take a recording that Alpha Trion recorded in like some sand. It's a really cool visual, so they need to take it to Icon and expose Sentinel Prime, so everyone turns against him. This is where the whole friendship of Orion Pax and D16 starts to crumble. Because D16, up until this point, has done everything he can to keep his job. Like, whenever Orion Pax is like, oh, let's do this, let's go to the race, or let's do something different, D16 doesn't want to do it, because he wants to stick to the rules. He does not want any sort of chaos or having fun, he just wants to do what he does best. But after learning that Sentinel has been pretty much lying to him for all of his life, he goes ballistic. He straight up says that, I do not want to expose him. I want to kill him. And this is where the divide starts to come into play. Because they're obviously trying to go back to Icon, but they get captured. And they get captured by the Elite Guard. And the Elite Guard is Starscream's group, with the rest of the yet-to-be Decepticons. The reason they captured them is because the Elite Guard has been trying to expose Sentinel, or, well, not expose him, like trying to stop the trains that he sends to the surface with the Energon. But when Orion Pax is like, okay, good, you are on the same team as us, join us. Starscream's like, nah, we do not care about a united Cybertron or Iacon, because people will not believe it or whatever. He believes in the rule of the strongest. And that's where D16 is like, screw this, I'm not doing this, I'll fight you or whatever. And he starts punching Starscream, like, to show off that he's the leader. This is really funny because he chokes Starscream, like, a lot. And it ruins his voice, like, for... I don't remember if it's for the rest of the movie, but at least for a few other scenes, which he sounds like the G1 screaming voice. So it's pretty funny. So when they're all in the base of the Lead Guard, which is like a crashed ship on the surface, they get found by Arachnid, which has been sent by Sentinel Prime to look for them, because he knows that, okay, they're trying to expose me or whatever, because he finds out that Alpha Trion is alive, so he also captures Alpha Trion. And this time, he actually finishes the job. He kills Alpha Trion with his Dark of the Moon sword, which is pretty cool. After Arachnid finds the base, she captures D16 and Bumblebee. And Orion Pax and Elita are kind of left in the rubble, along with the other yet-to-be Decepticons. And that's where Orion Pax unites them and tells them, oh, let's go to Iacon and defeat Sentinel Prime. And he's like, okay, let's all go to Iacon City. But he realizes that the recording is actually gone. Now they don't really have a plan, like, how are we going to expose Sentinel? And we don't want D16 to actually kill him. So what can we do? And they remember that Arachnid has been all throughout the movie next to Sentinel. And she records everything because she has a lot of eyes. She does not miss one single thing. So their plan now is to capture Arachnid and plug her into the TV station, basically like a massive broadcast of her memories. So now back to Iacon with the prisoners, D16 and all. At the very start of the movie, you may notice that in some trailers, he has the Decepticon logo in like his arm. This is actually really cool because it's a sticker that Orion Pax gave him, like sort of a celebration of their friendship. Like, I know you love Megatronus, like the Prime. Here's a limited edition sticker for you. And he's like, oh, thank you. I do love Megatronus. He's the strongest of the Primes. The thing about this is that Sentinel Prime looks at it and he's like, oh, so you're a Megatronus fan. Well, what do you know? When I killed all of the Primes, I took his T-Cog, and that's the reason why Sentinel Prime is so big, so huge. And he's like, well, since you're a fan, let's make sure that this sticker does not come off. And this is one of the most brutal scenes in the movie. The second most brutal, I would say, because he grabs the sticker and puts it on D16's chest. He grabs like a flamethrower or something, and he fuses it into his chest, like he carves it out while D16 is screaming. And this is really cool because at no point in the movie until like the very, very end, like post-credits, D16 never chooses the Decepticon logo for himself. All throughout the movie, people have been giving it to him. First Orion Pax as a gift, then Sentinel Prime like a brand, or well, curse, punishment, whatever. Bumblebee tells him, don't get up again, he's going to kill you, but D16 gets up anyway in front of the others, and Sentinel is about to kill him. But Orion Pax and Elita all come to the rescue with the rest of the Elite Guard. Long story short, they capture Arachnid and defeat Sentinel, but they don't kill him yet. So Sentinel gets exposed, and like I said, they don't kill him yet, because Megatron D16 still wants to kill Sentinel even after they expose him. So they're all in the middle of the city, everyone's watching, and D16 wants that no one ever like takes power, because he's tired of leaders telling him what to do, he's tired of Sentinel, he's tired of the lies, and he wants to kill Sentinel and everyone else that sympathized him or was like a friend of his. But Orion Pax is like, no, wait, you can't kill him. You know, that typical movie stuff. D16 shoots the Sentinel, but Orion gets in the way. Half half of Orion Pax's body gets blown out. Like, if you pay attention in the trailers, his arm is missing in one of the scenes. He gets, like, destroyed in half. And obviously, D16 is like, oh my gosh, what did you do? Why would you ever do that? And he starts crying. Like, he grabs Orion Pax before he falls into a cliff, because there is a cliff in the middle of the city for some reason. So he grabs him and tries to save him, and he's crying. But after a while, he stops crying and is like, I'm done saving you. And he lets go of Orion Pax as he's dying. So he goes back to Sentinel, which is at this point like crawling, like very tired, very exhausted. And this is the best scene in the movie, and definitely the most brutal, and at the same time the most emotional and inspiring part of the movie. Because Orion Pax is falling through Cybertron, like all of Cybertron is opening around him, like shifting. It's a very cool visual. But at the same time, it cuts back to D16 grabbing Sentinel, and he lifts him up in the air. Like, he grabs him and puts him in the air, and he starts splitting him in half, like in slow motion. And it's one of the most brutal things, because yeah, it's a very comedic movie overall, but it does go from 0 to 100 really fast. And this is one of those moments, because you don't expect it with this art style or the funny bits all throughout the movie. So he grabs him and starts splitting him, and you can see like the blood and the reflection of everyone watching, and the light and the tubes, and it's really extreme considering the art style, which is very simplistic. Cutting back to Orion, he falls to the very center of Primus or Cybertron, and that's where the 13 Primes in like ghost form, they give him the Matrix finally. So he starts reviving, he gets his arm back, and once he has the Matrix, he like completely changes and goes back to the surface like instantly, like flying like a shooting star. It's really awesome. D16 takes Sentinel Prime's T-Cog, which is again Megatronus's, and puts it on himself. And that's the reason why in some of the trailers, Megatron does not look like the same character model throughout the trailers, and that's also why the Studio Series is kind of inaccurate. So now the two are facing each other. Megatron is like, oh my gosh, why did Primus choose you? So they start fighting, and I mentioned in my other review that I felt like the action was lacking in comparison to other TF movies. And here, all those complaints are pretty much null, because they go all out with the expressiveness of the animation and the action, because they do something really unique, which is like he rips out Megatron's cannon while he's in tank form, and he starts bashing Megatron with it, but Megatron just reattaches it and shoots him again. Optimus gets his axe, like he summons all the power of the Matrix into his hand, and that's how he creates the Energon axe. And the thing about the axe, and this is really interesting to me, because I've never seen anything like it, he doesn't actually cut with the axe in this part of the fight. He just shoots the axe, like not physically, but whenever he swings, like the swings of the axe cut through the air, and you can see them spinning and stuff like that. It's very hard to describe. You're going to have to see it yourself. But it's one of the coolest things I've seen in a Transformers movie and any other animated movie, period. Optimus finally ends it with the axe again. He cuts right through the middle of Megatron's fusion cannon. So Optimus wins the fight, and he didn't just have to fight Megatron, because the other lieutenants, like the other Elite Guard members, also were trying to fight Optimus, because they were like, yes, Megatron, kill every single Sentinel sympathizer and all of that. So he beats all of them, he beats Megatron, and he's like, okay, that's enough. All of you are banished. Like, go to the surface. You do not belong in Icon City anymore because you betrayed it, you were trying to kill innocent people or whatever. So they're like, okay, whatever, this isn't over. So they leave the surface and it's very emotional. They don't take a train, but all throughout the movie, there's like this like railway or racetrack that builds around people. So it builds around them and they go to the surface and stay there. But remember, Optimus has the Matrix again, so all of the Energon comes back to the planet and everyone's like, yay, we have finally more Energon. But not just Energon, because also, this is something I forgot to mention, but Sentinel, if you didn't think he was bad enough, in order to keep all of them mining and oppressed, he also took all of their T-Cogs at birth. So now that the Matrix is back, all of the Energon comes back, they also get T-Cogs. So you see Ironhide, RC, and a bunch of others get their T-Cogs finally and they start transforming. So everyone's happy. Even in the surface where Megatron and the others were banished to, like, if you remember in the trailers, there were some sort of animal deers. They're also very happy because now they finally have more food. And lastly, the movie ends with the classic Optimus speech. He directs it at the quintessence. Like, yes, we are finally free of Sentinel. Come back to Cybertron and we will fight you. And now, we're in the Icon City, where autonomous robots were Autobots, basically. And that's how they get their name. And on the other hand, well, there's actually two post-credit scenes in the movie. First, it's just a joke scene with Bumblebee, because if you remember, he was like in waste management. He had like imaginary friends that he built out of trash, and he's like, yeah, these are my friends or whatever. And in the scene, he goes back to meet them, but he accidentally kills them, well, quote unquote kills them, because of his knife hands. And the other scene, which is Megatron making the Decepticon logo. And he brands pretty much everyone. Well, it's not like with Sentinel, where he gets like the Decepticon logo forcefully. No, everyone's like voluntarily identifying as a Decepticon now. And I thought the way they get the name is really fun, because he's like, we will not fall for another leader's deceptions. We are Decepticons, and he's like, Decepticons rise up. So, really cool. And that's how the movie ends. So, I know I just went on a long ramble about all of this, and I know I didn't really review it as much as I did in the last video, but in general, just know that this whole plot summary, I liked every single thing about it. The only thing I didn't like, again, is the lack of action in pretty much the earlier parts of the movie, because, again, I understand that this is basically explaining the origin story or building a foundation for following movies. So I get why it didn't have action for like half of the movie, but once they find out Sentinel's like evil and they meet Starscream, that's where things start picking up. But that's like half of a movie with full of setup, so that's my only complaint. Again, I think it's an 8 out of 5, and if I ignore those complaints, which I'm pretty sure most people will, and I'm being really picky about this, I do think the movie is 10 out of 10 for most people. It's the most coherent TF movie ever made, and especially the only one with actual characters. Like, here you can actually tell what everyone thinks. Like, Optimus isn't just some... And not to complain about this for, like, Baber's movies or the other movies. I know Optimus is meant to be, like, the optimistic guy, and that's also how he gets his name here. I don't know, he's very wise in the other movies. Here, you see how he gets there. So, it's really cool. Again, the only one that I don't think got that much character development was Bumblebee. Like, it's fun seeing him actually talk, like, in a full movie, but like Alita says in one of the scenes, I'm going to need you to talk less because he does speak a lot. Again, like you said in the other video, I think the standout of this movie is by far Megatron because one thing I didn't like at all in the other live action movies is how Megatron gets very sidelined. Here, he's an actual character. You understand why he's evil. You understand why he makes all the choices he does. You get why they disagree. You get why he's angry at Orion Pax or Optimus. So yeah, the character work here is insane, and I love it. I just need more action for the next one, which I'm sure we'll get because now that we actually have the two sides and the quintessons coming into play. So, those are my thoughts on the movie and overall plot summary. I didn't go too deep into it with my thoughts because I already did a full video on that. But yeah, just know I liked pretty much everything in this movie. Again, really recommend it. And if you haven't watched it and you watch this video for I I don't know why you would do that besides just I don't know. I guess you now have all the information you need to spoil people on Twitter if you are that mean. So I don't know. Either way, go watch it. If you already did, go watch it again because the only way we're getting Transformers 2 is if this movie does really well. That was confirmed yesterday, so yes, go watch this again if you haven't. Well, if you have. Anyway, that's it. I'm That's Flames. Follow me on Twitter. That's Flames. Blah 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 blah. Okay, that's it. Goodbye.